So we will talk a little bit about boundaries because these are very important in relationship in general, not just romantic relationship, in relationships in general. So think now, boundaries can be healthy and unhealthy. Think of it as it is lying on a continuum. Okay? And as always, both extremes are not healthy, and middle path is what we aim for. So on the one end, it is called, let me just show you. One end, it is called rigid, where the boundaries are so tight, right? So if this is you and this is your boundary, then it is so tight that you don't let anything enter here, you don't let anything out. You avoid intimacy and close relationship. You keep others at a distance to avoid the possibility of a rejection. You're unlikely to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable and to ask for help. You might have very few close relationships because you're too scared to let people in to your circle. Very, very protective of personal information and may seem detached even with romantic partners. It's like this, very gated. Nobody is allowed unless they allow that entry. On the other extreme is diffused. Here, there is no regulation. It is very porous, right? So entry and exit happens very freely. This again is not so healthy. So there is oversharing of personal information. There is blurring of boundaries. You don't know where you end and where the other person begins. There's over dependency on others. There is over involvement in others' issues. There is accepting abuse or disrespect because you don't want others to leave you. It's almost like a free land. Anybody can encroach at any time. That is neither healthy. Now, talking about healthy boundary, it is about valuing one's feelings and opinions, sticking to one's decision, even when pressured otherwise. An adequate balance of intimacy and separateness. Can listen and accept no. Is able to regulate emotions and have a clear sense of self. Now, when we think about healthy boundaries, so imagine this as two individuals and these are the boundaries around themselves, and they come, meet together, and then they form a union, right? Now they are in a relationship. Some of them form the union by mixing up their boundaries. So if they have diffuse boundaries, they almost feel like, okay, it's like we are one. There is no other. Once in a relationship, we are one. There is no separateness at all. This can be messy. This can get complicated. So even leaving is difficult. Instead, if it is healthy boundary, again, two people come together and then imagine that there is a larger circle that encompasses these two. So that these two remain as two people, also a space where they are together. So that would be healthy and that would be ideal. Now, when we talk about boundaries, it's not that, all these boundaries are very stringent. I tend to use healthy boundaries and I tend to use only healthy boundaries across time, across people, and every time in my life. It's not that. All of us have a mix of boundaries. It's just that what is predominant, and that defines how we relate with others. So it is important. The appropriateness will rely on the setting or context. So I might be okay to blur my boundaries with my close ones. With my friends, I don't really, or if with my close friends, I can be quite vulnerable. I can reveal all my personal information, but I might not do that with another friend of mine. So depending on setting, the culture that you are in, the timing meaning, okay, if I'm really sad, that might be one of the times that I open up. It's not that I open up all the time and keep sharing my information and dumping my things on others all the time. So when you are mindful of your boundaries, you are aware of where you end and where the other begins. You are aware of the context. You are also aware of the subtle cues others display. So if they become uncomfortable, if they are worried about something, you are sensitive to that as well, because you are able to identify the other and not just you. So it is important to remember what, where, when, and with whom. Now, how do you establish or re-establish these boundaries? It is through healthy dialogue. It is by learning to put your needs above and meeting them, making small promises to oneself, taking care of oneself, practicing setting and keeping boundaries even when uncomfortable. Because if you weren't able to set clear boundaries in certain relationship, and now if you are trying to attempt that, it wouldn't be received well. There will definitely be resistances. But how are you able to stand up for yourself and to do this consistently so that you make sure you set clear boundaries around you?
You can reach out to Therapeute with queries related to mental health. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our Therapeute channel. Thanks for watching. See you very soon.